I'll never forget the first night it happened. It was just an ordinary Tuesday, or at least it was supposed to be. My friends and I, all seniors, had this stupid habit of sneaking into our high school after dark. We weren't troublemakers, just bored, curious, and looking for a thrill. The school was massive and old, built in the 1950s, and it had stories, lockers that opened on their own, whispers in empty classrooms, and a music room that everyone said was haunted. That night, we were sitting in the gym when Jake, the one who always pushed dares too far, mentioned that music room. He said he once saw a figure through the glass door, staring at him. Of course, we laughed, but when he described the keys moving on their own, our laughter faded. So, we went. 3rd floor, flashlights in hand. The halls were dead silent, and the air smelled of dust and something metallic. The door to the music room was cracked open, just like Jake said. When he pushed it open, the hinges screamed. Inside, the room was dark, except for a faint glow near the piano. And then we saw it. The keys were moving. Slowly, softly, no sound, just motion. Then came a whisper. "Michael." We all froze. Michael, the only one with that name, was standing beside me. The voice hadn't come from him. The air turned freezing cold. Our breaths turned white. Jake tried to laugh it off, but his voice trembled. And then the whisper came again, closer this time. My flashlight flickered, and in that brief stutter of light, I saw something detach from the piano, a shadow, stretching across the floor like liquid. It rose, took shape, a figure with no face, and then gone. We ran. We didn't stop until we were outside, panting, shaking, trying to convince ourselves we imagined it. But deep down, we all knew something in that room had been waiting for us. Weeks later, during a school lock-in, it happened again. A faint tapping down the hallway, like fingernails on lockers, coming from the 3rd floor, then silence, then movement. We followed the sound into the auditorium. There, under the dim light, stood a figure, perfectly still, its head tilted, and even without a face, I could feel it staring. The lights flickered. It stepped closer, and when the last light went out, I swear, I saw it smile. No one believed us. But even now, years later, when I pass that school, I still feel it watching. Some stories don't fade. Some buildings never forget. This story still makes me shiver every time I think about it. It started in the most ordinary way possible, but it became something I'll never forget. It was late October, just a few weeks before Halloween. I was a sophomore in high school, not the kind of person who liked breaking rules or exploring creepy places. But that night, curiosity got the better of me. My school was old, built back in the 1960s, and it carried a reputation. Students whispered about a janitor who had died there years ago and how his spirit still wandered the halls at night. Most of us didn't believe it until that Friday. My friends, Maya, Lewis, and Caleb, convinced me to check it out. Around 10:30 p.m., when the last bus had already left, we slipped in through a side door that someone had forgotten to lock. The hallways were silent, the air cold and heavy. Every sound, every creak of the floor echoed like a warning. At first, everything seemed fine. We explored the gym, a few classrooms, even the old library. But when we reached the science wing, everything changed. That area was supposed to be sealed off for renovations. The door was slightly open, and the darkness behind it felt wrong. Lewis pushed it open. A wave of damp metallic air hit us. We stepped in, and the door slammed shut behind us. We froze. There was no wind, no one else around, just that echo of the door fading into silence. Our flashlights shook as we looked around the room, and that's when I saw it. A shadow, low to the ground, shifting like smoke trying to take form. Caleb whispered, "What the hell is that?" The thing glided toward us, just inches above the floor. Every time I tried to focus, its shape changed, blurry, faceless, shifting.
The room turned icy cold. My breath came out white. Then the whispers began. At first, one voice, soft, almost chanting, then another, then dozens. They echoed off the walls in some language I couldn't understand. No matter how hard I covered my ears, I could still hear them inside my head. Suddenly, the shadow lunged across the room. Our flashlights flew out of our hands, and everything went black. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, circling us, until suddenly silence. When the lights flickered back, the shadow was gone. The room was empty. The door was locked from the outside. We screamed, pounded, begged, until finally it opened on its own. We ran and didn't look back. The next morning, I asked around, but no one knew anything. Security cameras had gone offline that night. Total glitch, they said. Weeks later, I got a text from a classmate. Check the old yearbook, 3rd floor, science wing. I did, and in one group photo, standing behind a line of students, there it was. A tall, faceless figure, blurred like smoke. I never went near that wing again. But sometimes when I pass by, I swear I still see that shadow, just at the edge of my vision, watching.
The third story I'm about to tell you is the one that still gives me nightmares, and it's the reason I'll never step inside an empty school again. It happened during my senior year. I went to a private high school, an old Gothic-style building with tall windows, creaking floors, and a bell tower that seemed to watch over everything. The place was over 100 years old, and people loved to tell ghost stories about it. Most were just rumors, but what I experienced was real. It started the night of our drama club rehearsal. We were staying late to practice for an upcoming play. The auditorium was huge, red curtains, rows of seats, and a faint smell of dust and old wood. By the time rehearsal ended, it was almost 11 p.m. Everyone had left except a few of us, packing props. I was folding costumes when I saw it. A figure gliding across the stage, pale, silent, and gone in an instant behind the curtain. I froze. "Very funny," I called out, waiting for someone to laugh. Nothing, just silence. When I looked around, I realized I was completely alone. I walked toward the curtain. The closer I got, the colder the air became. My breath was visible. I peeked behind it, empty. But when I turned around, a loud bang echoed from the balcony above. My heart nearly stopped. I called out again. No response. The entire room felt alive, heavy, watching. That's when I saw him. A tall, dark figure standing near the back exit, still, silent, just watching me. I couldn't see a face, just a human shape, but it didn't cast a shadow. And that's when the panic hit. I ran to the nearest door, locked, tried another, locked again. Every door sealed. Then the whispers started, soft at first, then louder. Hundreds of overlapping voices speaking in a language I didn't understand. My ears rang, my chest tightened, the lights flickered, and suddenly I wasn't alone. Dozens of shadowy figures surrounded me, floating, moving in perfect silence. No faces, no sound, except the whispers echoing in my skull. I tried to scream, but no words came out. When one of them reached toward me, its hand or whatever it was passed through my shoulder. It felt like ice cutting through my bones. I bolted for the stage, tripped over chairs, and finally found a side door. It opened. I ran until I was outside, gasping for air, shaking, terrified. The next morning, I told my principal. They didn't believe me, but my drama teacher did. She said others had seen them too, always at night, always alone. I never went back in there again. Even now, when I pass that building, I still feel it. That cold air, that silence, and the weight of something watching.